folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
All right. What's up? What's going on, everybody? Y'all already know the deal. Y'all know the routine. Make sure you hit the like button, whether you're catching it live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. Make sure you hit that like button. Shout out to Just Being Jazzy Podcast, Crafty Ideas, and Chill Spot. It's like the name of your YouTube channel just keeps getting longer and longer. It wasn't that long before. You keep adding stuff to it. Shout out to RW. Good brother right there. Met that brother in person. Real good brother. Says, what up, BR? Sounds like an interesting topic. Let's go. Absolutely. And who else we got in here? Shout out to IRM, of course. Shout out to Vince Lindsay, one of my most recent Patreons, and shout out to the name of an individual who I'm not going to pronounce it right. Advitam Ataran. I can't even see it. I got to make it bigger. All right, I'm fumbling on the start. I'm stumbling out the gate. Shout out to Sir Tice. Shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate each and every one of you. Try to shout out the first few comments, but let's go ahead and get into this. RM, you can cut the music in the back. About to introduce our guest here today. Y'all all know Sub-Zero, who always brings the valuable information every time he comes on here. Welcome back.
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing
By
good.
The way,
doing good.
The title, I don't think you hit enter on the title.
Oh no, I did. It just in StreamYard it's not showing on I'm pretty sure on YouTube. Let me double check. Yeah, on YouTube. On YouTube it's showing it. No, it's like that. It's StreamYard. StreamYard do his own thing, but YouTube, I changed it on YouTube, so we good. We good.
All right. So look here, man. I'm glad to be here. I'm ready to get this thing going. Today, this is a very important subject. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Sub-Zero 3639. I have a channel called Sub-Zero 3639 Live, one word. And that channel is basically, just me venting, saying, pouring out my little heart. I had a larger channel, about 20,000 subscribers that got terminated. Hey, I was channeling my man, Lil Big Nate.
Yeah.
I got caught up a little bit, but at any rate, let me say, first of all, brother, thank you for having me. Shout out to the homie Sir Tice. I see you, tomorrow. We're gonna hook up tomorrow, actually. But at any rate, let me say this. So like I said, I run Lifting the Veil IT Academy, if I didn't say it. And Lifting the Veil IT Academy, if you could see my avatar, it would be the Tuskegee Lifting the Veil statue from Booker T. Washington. I'm a big fan of Booker T. Washington. Not just because I went to Tuskegee, because I actually respect his philosophy. And like John Henry Clark said, I think that philosophy was the right way to go. And I think because we didn't, it cost us. But anyway,
that's a whole nother story and debate, and people get to arguing and fighting and screaming and doing follow-up streams and all kind of stuff.
I don't even want to go there. I don't want to go there. But let me say this. At any rate,
before you go there, when y'all get a period, whenever y'all get a chance, I don't know if y'all can change your avatar or do something, because it's not. Well, you already know it's not showing. They're saying on YouTube y'all avatars ain't showing, so I don't know if y'all can change it or.
I'll try to edit it
and come out or do whatever. Yeah, just if you can, that's great. If you can't, we'll work through it. No biggie. But go ahead. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll say this. And I tried to do a new avatar. So let me see if I can in there. Anyway, I don't know if you see that one. But
yeah, we'll see. I got to go
all
on
right.
YouTube.
So at any rate, let me say this. One of the things Booker T. Washington was big on was just, working with your hands and being, labor and mastering a certain skill. And that's what I really believe in. I think a lot of times having a certain skill set and being great at that skill set to becoming one of the best an expert in a particular field is the key to success, right? And so, that's the spirit through which we have. I started Lifting the Veil IT Academy. Been doing this for about 5 years. I was teaching classes all by myself for about 4 years. And this year is the first year I'm really starting to bring others in to help me. And it's taken off because you're about to see people. There's a lot of people out here that know way more than I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to limit people with just what I knew in IT, although you could get, I can get you to the 6-figure salaries and stuff like that. But now we're talking about not just getting a skill set, we're also about to talk about the coming collapse and survival and what it means to survive in this coming blockchain ledger society that we're about to be dealing with. The brother who you see at the bottom is Javon. Javon is an instructor, real brilliant brother. And I'm gonna say this: he actually has a lot of real deep connections. When we first met, we talked for like an hour and a half. We sat and talked about a whole lot of things. We clicked. I said, okay, I like this dude, and he was real professional. He knows what he's talking about, and he has the connections. He actually knows the people in the industry. He knows what they're looking for. He's worked for a lot of these people, specifically Ethereum. He actually worked for Ethereum, so he actually has extensive background in blockchain technology. I'll let him explain what blockchain is, but I'm gonna just say this: cryptocurrency and what's coming in the future. People have been talking about these CBDCs or central bank digital currencies. They've been talking about these for quite some time now, and I think that if you're left on the outside, in this coming change, or should I say paradigm shift, you'll be stuck. And now we're dealing with, because it's a fintech, because it's financial, you will be locked, as Dr. Claude Anderson always puts it, in a permanent underclass. If you're not prepared for what's coming, you will be locked in that underclass. If you want to set yourself up to be successful, then you might want to pay attention. What I'm gonna introduce to some of y'all, reintroduce to some people. Javon, what's up, Javon?
Hey, how's it going, sub, and everybody? How y'all doing?
Hey, how's it going? Welcome. So go ahead. You got the fourth floor. You got the mic. But I do want to well, just I got to ask you about what kind of work did you do for? You said sub. You said he worked for Ethereum, correct?
Yeah, he worked for Ethereum. Go ahead.
That's interesting. I'm very curious. What did you do for Ethereum? In my mind, you were the person pulling the levers, got it going up and down, making everybody money crack, money flow go up and down. You was the man behind the curtain pulling them levers, making everybody have heart attacks and stuff. All right, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, that's funny. So yeah, man. Just how I got into the industry. I was, but me and my friends, we were basically online, and we had stumbled upon. We were playing video games online, and we had stumbled upon Bitcoin, and so we didn't know what it was, but we were trying to make some money too playing video games. So we saw that it was a game attached to where you could mine Bitcoin to make money. So we didn't understand what mining was, but I was a big Crash Bandicoot fan, so I was thinking it was something probably similar to that. So anyway, me and my friend, we had bought like around 750 Bitcoins, and a lot of people don't know when Bitcoin first came out, it was under $1. You could buy it for less than $1 per Bitcoin. And so me and my friend, we ended up making like $5,000 and selling it. We had no idea what we had basically just done. So fast forward, I had already had like a background in like programming and software engineering. Fast forward around like 2015, I had got back involved into the blockchain and crypto space, because I had knew that. I said, now wait, times are changing. I just knew something big was going to happen, but I didn't know what, so I knew I needed to be prepared. So I knew that when I had looked back at the price of Bitcoin, it was already worth several thousands, and I was like, man, when I bought it, it was under $100. I was like, man, oh, so then I began to, get curious and, research more about like the technology that runs Bitcoin, because I was really curious on how something can't be stopped. You know what I mean? Like as far as it being decentralized. So anyhow, so fast forward, around 2019, I had got offered a job to work for Ethereum. I had, long story short, I had went to a conference, and that led to me meeting some of the developers who then had offered me a position. So I was doing things like implementing meta transactions on the Ethereum order book, more so on the decentralized finance side. So I remember just working there, and when I was on the interview, I was wondering. I said, okay, I wonder how much I'm going to get paid. I was already knowing it was going to be six figures, but I was thinking maybe like 150, 139. And then so when they hit me with the offer of around it was around 359,000. I was like, what? So I instantly, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to take the job. So I had realized that the reason why the pay was so high, there's not that many developers. You could probably go to somewhere like Silicon Valley, and out of 1,000 students in Silicon Valley, maybe 10 of them are blockchain developers, maybe. And that's probably out of 1,000 students. So I realized that there was more money than there's not that many, like I said, there's not that many blockchain developers. So I realized the demand for the developers was why the price was demand. So then COVID happened, the pandemic. So at that time, the price was, and some of the prices were even jumping a little bit higher than that when COVID was happening during the bull run of Bitcoin, because so many new projects were happening. And I had saw that, it being that it was remote, obviously in your living room or wherever you want to work. I saw that as an opportunity that, okay, COVID really like taught me a lesson on how the world was going to change, how everything was more digital, payments were more digital. So I had, so after the pandemic, I had got invited to Washington, D.C. It was a government meeting. And so because I was like really heavy in the blockchain. So I was got invited to a government conference that was talking about blockchain. It was called the Government Blockchain Association. So I get there, and it's like a bunch of legislators, regulators, Department of Justice, the FBI, and they were all, talking about blockchain. So I sat in a room and was listening, and so I was able to meet the inventor of blockchain, and I was able to meet Charles Hoskinson of Cardano. So eventually, just because of my friend that invited me to the meeting, I was able to build a personal relationship with Dr. Scott Stornetta, which is the inventor of blockchain, and Charles Hoskinson. And just talking to these guys personally and talking to legislators and regulators, I had already knew if the government is interested in blockchain and Bitcoin, I knew I needed to be interested in whatever the government is interested in. Because
hold on 1 second. I actually, you can keep talking. I made a mistake in the back and put 978. It's 678. It's an Atlanta number. So it's 678-627-2796. I'm sorry. So I gave the wrong number in the back. Sorry. Keep going.
That's good you corrected it. So once I had realized that so then they invited me on stage to speak. So then with me on stage beginning and speaking, then they had asked me to help build out some of the projects for some of the legislators. So I didn't know that opportunity was going to come. I pretty much was just showing up just because I was invited. But when they knew I could build out the technology, and we was all, I mean, it was like a 3-day conference. I mean, I probably hung with these guys maybe like 12 hours a day at this conference, just basically hammering out ideas and talking about a few things. So when I had realized that, government officials were asking me to help build blockchain, I had knew that, oh man, more people need to know about this. There's no, because a lot of people, when they get into crypto, and they're more so in it for the financial aspect of, you know, buying a coin makes money, and you know, you make money. And even though that is true, but if you actually know how to build some of this technology, you're irreplaceable. It is I mean, it don't even matter what you look like, you know, how hair, you know, none of that matters. If you know how to build blockchain technology, I mean, you're like beyond valuable. So it's like, if you know, so just thinking about it, uh there's such a high demand for people building blockchain for government and for all different type of fintech companies needing developers to build blockchain. I mean, they're paying you, you know, mid 250s, mid 350s, plus they're giving you coin tokens of the company, and you're getting in the company day one. So when these companies shoot up through mind you, if you can you imagine buying Bitcoin the first day it came? Can you imagine being like one of the core developers of Bitcoin? The first day, they, you know, when Bitcoin was 0.00001, that's like 6 zeros and a number one. And you imagine somebody just giving you like 30,000 Bitcoin just because, oh, you're a part of the company. So it's like getting a part of these companies day one. And here the thing is, if when you job hop, move job, you get to keep the coins that they gave you. And then a lot of them offer dental, health insurance, and sign-on bonuses. So, and the thing is, the key is you have to go find blockchain jobs that are government, like government sponsored, like, you know, they want the job, or if it got to be a fintech company. Those are the two sectors in blockchain that pay the highest. Everyone else starts you around 159. And typically when somebody's starting you off at 159, you're probably a part of a meme project, or they really just don't have that much money, and that's just the most they can just genuinely afford to pay. And so yeah, so, you know, just kind of just spending those last, you know,
you were in on SHIB at the ground level, weren't you?
Yep, ground level. I got in the second day it came out.
Shiba Inu. He got in the second day Shiba Inu came out. And I always hate
crazy.
When I look at, you know, you go look at these coins and they go on a run, you finally hear about them, and you like, man, I wish I was one of these people at the very beginning of, you know, on Coin Market Cap. Like, you know, you get on there and it's like, okay, who are these people that jumped in and got it at 0.00000000001 cents? Like, who are those people?
If the employees doing, I mean, that kind of sounds like cheating almost. If the employees jumping on it.
I mean, and to be honest with you, one of the things I actually love about this whole situation right now is that, quite frankly, the market saturation of tech, right? I mean, not of tech, of the market saturation of crypto right now is at, like they said, last I heard was 3%. They say it doesn't really, things don't really take off to around 11%. So we're at ground level as far as what you know, what is possible and what will be possible with this space. So, you know, I'm sharing my screen in the background.
Okay.
If you look, like, look how far back, like right here, there are people jumping in, you know, and then all of a sudden it shot up. And I remember when I think the first time I heard about it, when was this? Was right around in here. I bought in, and I got out, and it shot way up again in October. I don't think I was in that time, but I mean, the people down here got filthy rich. I mean, if you just took, you know, $800, and if you're working, these people gonna pay you anyway. So, you know, you saying, hey, just take 30% of my check. I don't know how that works, Javon. You probably can explain, but you take a certain percentage, I want in cash, or if they pay you all in crypto and you convert most of it, but you leave 20%, then it goes on this bull run, and you're talking about a check of like $4,000 or $5,000 a week. You know, 7,000 actually when you're talking about 350. So I mean, you just leave $800 a week in there or something. Just what would happen? You know, and that's the thing. Like I'm sure these people got immensely wealthy. And that's why you see all these people that's talking about they crypto millionaires and billionaires. There's a lot of people out here like that. So
yeah, that's wild. That's wild. So all right, let's get into because like we got in the title, even though we tweaked it and changed it a few times, but the coming crash of the dollar. because we can't get too far into this because without talking about that, because that's why this is all important. That's why this is all important. And me and you talked a little bit about it on the phone. So I do want to tease that out and what's coming down the pipeline and why getting into this and understanding how all of this work, everything that Javon is going to be teaching with your academy, with your school, and everything. We gotta get into the coming crash. We got to get into that. So go ahead and break that down for those that don't know what's coming down the pipeline and what a lot of black folks, to be honest, are sleeping on as usual. Because
well,
go ahead.
I think from what was it 5 years ago, they've 5x'd every dollar that was in existence from 5 years ago. So if there were, let's just be for ease of math, $1,000 of rotating around the world, they say, of course, it's like 70% in foreign countries, the other 35%, 30% it's in America. Now it's $5,000. They've done that, and so that's one of the reasons they're never going to be able to stop this inflation. So you look at the World Economic Forum with the guy Klaus Schwab and what he's talking about, which is you will own nothing and you will be happy. I talked about this earlier with you on the phone, Bernard. There's going to be a big shift called a Great Reset that everybody, I'm sure you guys have heard about it. In case you've been living under a rock, everybody else, there's a Great Reset coming, and it primarily one of the biggest things they're going to do with it is going to be financial. And what has been bounced around, I ain't saying that this is what's going to happen, but what has been bounced around, one of the things you hear is that they're going to make the money digital. And when it becomes digital, you're going to need all that infrastructure built. Just think right now, every transaction that takes place, cash, debit, they all go through different avenues in different countries. They're different. They're built locally for that country. So now what they're doing is everybody's saying, okay, look, we're about to get a ledger or something like a XRP, which will be able to interact with everybody all over the world in a global economy, but it can be converted over into whatever CBDC that they have. And in doing so, that infrastructure has to be built. That's where we come in. Now, the thing is, if you aren't part of this, what happens is they're going to switch everything around. One Friday, they're gonna go home. Everybody's gonna go home for the weekend, and on a Sunday, they're gonna announce, banks aren't opening tomorrow, right? Then all of a sudden, hey, give us to Wednesday. And all of a sudden Wednesday they'll say, hey, we got this new currency, the digital dollar. This is what and what the government, what the Fed wants to be able to do is know what you're doing with your money. When it's digital, if it's digital, they can track it. If it's in a wallet, they give you certain types of wallet. They got this thing called Fed Now that they're developing. And so what they're getting ready to do is I'm a big person. I'm a more freedom-minded individual. I'm a conservative. I'm going to say this. I believe that they're trying to enslave us. And the best way to enslave somebody is to say, hey, here's your paycheck, but you got to spend it in 60 days or it's going to just disappear.
Explain. Okay, why would it disappear? Explain that.
Okay, so I know, and Javon can probably help me out with this, but I know with inflation, what they're saying is, like, if you have a burn, like say you got that, let's go back to that $1,000 analogy.
Mm-hmm.
They can pump out $5,000 and multiply it. But if they say, okay, we're burning $500 every 60, however long, and the number goes down, then that'll actually prevent the inflation from ever happening again. So I think it'll probably be something precautionary, kind of like what happened when we saw this thing that spread out of China and took over the whole world, and everybody was scared and wearing masks and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? And they said you'll lose your job if you don't let them put these chemicals in your body, right? And so it was preventative, but they already knew what they were going to do. These are plans that these people are implementing, and they don't too particularly care for freedom and individuals that are freedom oriented. And so you want to be in this space just for, when these decisions are made, like they say 100 years ago or 200 years ago, early 1800s, Industrial Revolution. A lot of different things were taking place. A lot of ideas and decisions were being made, and no African Americans were in the room. In the 1950s, they decided they were going to build Silicon Valley, and all these people started coming in the 50s and the 60s. There were no African Americans in the room for the most part, right? And then all of a sudden, here we are, you have the dot-com thing happens in the 90s. And, Sergey Brin and all these guys start Google and all these major companies. Right now, if you look at the largest companies in the world, these are companies, most of which didn't exist 30 years ago. And so today, the decisions that are being made with this crypto and building out this infrastructure, that is the next, air quotes, revolution that's about to take place. And so you want to be in the room. And in order to get in the room, you need the prerequisite skills. You got some, Javon?
Yeah, that's definitely true, because with this reset, I mean, you got to think about it. One of the original resets was when nobody had a cell phone, and then boom, overnight, everybody got a cell phone. And like how a lot of the elderly, how they couldn't use email, or they didn't know how to use social media or Facebook. So when I saw that people in my generation, well, me being alive in an elderly person's generation, and they're telling me how, oh man, back in my day, we ain't have all this computers and all this technology. And I'm like, you back in your day, you didn't have a computer, and now today you're still alive and there's AI. Man, that let me know I could be just like them, been born, and then 60 years later, it's some type of new technology I can't even explain. So you got to think about the same elderly who could not even send an email or work a cell phone. Now that you got, Chat GPT and all this other AI going on, and crypto, and talk about buying Bitcoin, these people don't even know how to even send an email. So look how further along they are. So I had realized that could happen to me. Like back in the day, I could use all the latest and greatest technology, but if I don't adapt, and I see that, all the governments are trying to use blockchain, I clearly see that we're in a global economic, recession. They're talking about like when 2008 happened. I want you guys to understand this. When 2008 market crash happened, that was just the real estate market that had crashed. The financial markets was good. Every other market was good in the whole world. So even though 2008 made a big, now that everybody talks about the 2008 market crash, but I really want people to understand that was just the real estate market. The crash that's getting ready to happen for the real estate, all markets are going to crash. I'm talking about the entire, and now we're not just talking about the United States. All global markets are going to crash. So if you think 2008 was bad, can you imagine? 2008 was about maybe a $4 or $5 trillion crash. In the whole financial markets globally, is a total of 400 trillion in liquidity daily. That's all going to just slump. Now, can you think about it? How bad that's going to be? If the housing market crash was that bad, I mean, people almost passed out when only one sector of the world. Can you imagine there's over 333,000 securities. The housing market was only probably about maybe 100 to 1,000 securities. You're talking about 300 something thousand securities, all going to go in one direction one day, all because of this global reset. So you're going to be finding that. So, and with the Silicon Valley bank crash, I want people to know something about the banks. So when you're, and this is not financial advice, but I really want you guys to understand something about the banking industry. When you put your money in a bank account, it is FDIC insured. Yes, your money is insured to the bank, but I want you to read the biggest word that they put in front of you that no one ever sees, but you agree to it when you open up an account. It says they agree to give you up to $250,000. I mean, if you have $100,000 in cash, they can give you $10,000. That is up to. They didn't say you're guaranteed to get your entire amount. They're guaranteed that they will give you up to. So I could have 10 accounts that got $200,000 in it, and they can just give me a total of $10,000. So most people don't know that. So they don't tell you that, your money is actually safer, like in a trading or brokerage accounts, because it's SIPC insured. meaning and if any type of turmoil or anything like that, 100% of your money is guaranteed. That's a quick thing they don't tell you. So a lot of people with the Silicon Bank voucher. So here the thing is, even though it's on hush hush now because they printed all this money to cover it up, that I want you guys to follow how many of those depositors got 100% of their deposits back. That's what you're not seeing. You're hearing that the bank, the Fed came in with $2 trillion to save the bank, but even though $2 trillion came in to save Silicon Valley Bank, the people that had deposits, how many of them got 100% of their deposit with a disclaimer that says they will give you up to? That's what you're going to hear about within the next couple of weeks, how people didn't get all their money. And have those depositors even got their money, got some of their money back? How they even begin that process of even giving those people those money back yet? So that's what you don't hear. So when I know that right as of right now, if you were affected by the Silicon Valley Bank, there's no guarantee they'll give you 100% of your money. So check this out. If you had a $5 million with Silicon Valley Bank, they're only guaranteeing you that they'll give you up to 250,000. So they may give you 100,000, but you lost 4,900,000. So I want you to understand why that this great reset is. You can see, just look at it. If a bank that funnels that is worth about 209 billion just fell overnight, just between me and my buddies in Wall Street, there's like 900 other banks in this same situation. It's called problem banking. That's a big industry not many people know about. So I really want you guys to pay attention that if a bank can fall overnight, that's worth $209 billion. I really want you to understand that people don't even have $10 million. And something worth 209 billion fell in one. You woke up one morning, it was all over the news. What other things can happen? And then there was like 3 other banks that fell: Signature Bank, and then Credit Suisse Bank. That was almost like $1 trillion in bank that fell in like 1 week. So I really want, I just kind of just want, and if everyone sees how COVID knocked out a lot of people's businesses, that's the movie happening right in front of you before the real thing happens. So, you have to necessarily adapt. You have, COVID taught me, with my business, that I realized I really need to keep my tech skills up to date. When I realized my business was in commercial real estate, when my tenants stopped paying me, and I didn't know that you can legally not pay your rent. And I didn't understand that, So I was, in the apartment business. So I didn't know, I'm used to every month that all my tenants are paying me. The next thing you know, the next month I'm getting zero, not even $10, not even literally $3-4, no money. And all my tenants got the right to do that. And I still got to fix toilets. I still got to fix the roof, clean the carpet. I still got to fix whatever they need. And I'm not even getting no income. So I realized that even though I had real estate, I needed industrial real estate. I needed something that don't deal with people. So that goes back to blockchain. I got, long story short, I got into data centers and stuff like that because I knew that if the way that people get paid from people, not going to be the same no more. So it's like the only thing I knew that's really going to be here is blockchain. I don't know anything. I know the reset is going to happen. I know that we're going into a recession. But what I do know is, in the midst of all that, governments are keen focused on developing blockchain solutions.
That's it. And let me say this too. There's a people. You know what? I got this video set up in the back. Bernard.
Yeah, pull it up.
I'm gonna hit this play and let this guy. It's supposed to be kind of comedic, but it's really kind of scary. Listen to what he's saying.
It's threatened.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple, who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple, who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple, a former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple, leading Australia's CBDC effort. Ripple, who hired a former Treasury of the United States. Ripple, 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board. Ripple, 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team. Ripple, who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website. Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan?
So that clip is probably old now. It's even worse. I mean, it's the adoption, and for those of you that don't know, XRP is it, man. I mean, Elon Musk said XRP won, and I'll let Javon. What do you mean? What did he mean by that, Javon? When you seen that clip of Elon Musk saying, "Oh, it's over. XRP is it."
Oh yeah, basically, a lot of people don't really understand. Like, so they hear XRP and they're like, okay, I made some money. The coin did whatever. The reason why it outside of the lawsuit, the reason why, so you have XRP and Ripple. Ripple is the technology. XRP is the token that runs on Ripple network. So but XRP, so Ripple is the network. XRP is the token that runs on the network. So what's so valuable about Ripple is the network, not necessarily the token. It's how fast the network can go. Like the network can do. So for example, the bank, take 3-4 days and all that. You get a wire, got to wait tomorrow. You get a deposit a check into your account. You got to wait 2-3 days. Ripple can do like 60,000, can process 60,000 transactions in like a tenth of a second. And it's like on demand liquidity. So meaning like so for example, I'm a day trader, so I'm explaining it from a day trade standpoint. So as a market maker, banks they may move like $1 trillion in positions in one day. So you may have Bank of America open up like $1 trillion in positions in like one trading day. So typically it takes, you got to go through the option clearing court, blah, blah, blah. It takes a few days for all that to settle. You literally can have $1 trillion settle in under 1 second. As normally it will take a bank industry about 2-3 days for that to actually settle. So from a trading standpoint and banks payments situation, they can move a lot faster having something that's on demand liquidity where they don't have to wait and stuff like that. So that's like basically taking how the bank system is now. The bank system right now globally is like basically a Corvette. They're basically getting rid of the Corvette and coming out with a spaceship. That's how big the difference is you're gonna go from a Corvette to a spaceship in the finance industry. That's basically how up to date they're trying to bring the financial technology. So the technology they're using now is literally like a Corvette. Ripple is like the spaceship when it comes to the payment system.
And Ripple is just one. I mean, they have the ISO 22 tokens, which when you get into it, it's XDC, it's XLM, which is called Stellar Lumens. You have Quant, which is at like $125, $130 right now. You have all these different tokens. These tokens are pretty much the future. They're gonna have one that's gonna replace the stock market. They're gonna put, I forget which one that is, and it's gonna be, I think it's IOTA. I don't know for sure, but some of them gonna deal with utilities. Some of them gonna deal with, and each of these tokens, that's what they're focusing on. That's their field of use, if you will. And so, what we're trying to do with this course is, obviously, we're not teaching everything. What we're teaching is, for one, even if you take this course just for intelligence, just to know how to read things. There's a video I have of 3 brothers talking, T the Crypto Spot and 2 other brothers, right? They talking over my head. I don't know what they talking about. I've been T for I don't know how many years. I don't know what the hell they talking about. They'll be saying stuff and I'm like, man, what is that? And so when I watch T the Crypto Spot's video, I don't know what he's talking about because I don't have the expertise, right? Javon he's been there. He's been inside these organizations. So he knows thoroughly what these people are talking about. So if you're trying to get the knowledge and understanding of what's coming, you want to get it from somebody that has been there, that knows know the people. He actually met the inventor of blockchain. What's that guy's name, Javon?
His name is Dr. Scott Sternetta.
That's what I'm saying. So he actually knows the guy. He knows, and he knows a few other people. I know he was naming those people you say you met at the conference, but he has these people, he knows them. They know him as a developer. And so these are the things that, if I were trying to get into a field like this, I would want someone like Javon, who's already been there. And you just want to be prepared, man, for what's coming. I mean, and it's not just, obviously gold and silver is always the go-to, right? But if you look at it, even these blockchain, they're talking about these countries, what they're doing is they're buying gold and silver to back their digital currency. So, I mean, what does that mean? That means that when everything goes down and the crash happens and these CBDCs are introduced, every transaction that you see everywhere, McDonald's, gas station, right? OnlyFans, everything will be distributed through a blockchain ledger. That's what's going to happen. And you need to be able to navigate that space. So what we're in my mind, I'm a little older. I ain't old, but I don't consider myself old, but I'm not 20, right? And I remember the beginning of the internet. I remember dial-up. I remember AOL. I remember when Amazon was just for books. And I used to go on Amazon looking for like Lotus books. I don't know if people remember Lotus, but it's before Excel, right? And I used to go up there and look for books on Lotus and Word Perfect. The old 1980s and 90s software. Word Perfect was how they got rid of typewriters, right? Because everybody got into Word Perfect with computers. But the thing is, if you go back and look at the price of these stocks, take in mind there have been a lot of splits as well. So, but if you go back to like the 90s and you look at the price of these stocks for like, say, an Amazon, you talking about 65 cents, 70 cents. And if you had taken, say if you was working a job back in a 9 to 5 back in the day and they were giving you shares of Amazon, and today you got 300,000 shares of Amazon, you'd be worth, I don't know, 40 million, 40 million dollars somewhere. I mean, I'm just guessing, but that's what you'd be worth, is around $100 right now, close to it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I remember in the 90s during the .com bubble, because I was in college, I remember the Nightline doing specials on people driving Ferraris and Lamborghinis to work in Silicon Valley. And they were secretaries, and some of these people were just janitors, but the company gave them stock options and they went public, and these people are making, so I'm not trying to, what I'm saying is this is the ground floor of what the future is going to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. Supporting the ground floor of the infrastructure that's coming for our grandkids. And if you got anybody that you love and care about, you need to be prepared. Right? I have a son. I have a wife. I have mom, family. If everything go to shit, can I take care of them? can I, you know, when the dollar collapses, is your whole house, is everything you have built on the dollar? And I'm not saying take all your money and dump. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just saying if it is, I am going to and have done. I have diversified, and I think this skill set that we're offering will not only serve to inform you, to protect you in the future, but it will also make you a viable, integral piece of what these organizations are going to be doing in the future, right? And I remember years ago, my teacher in the 7th grade, she made us do like a survival thing, right? And it was like, okay, there's been a nuclear holocaust, and you got certain individuals, everybody can't make it. And so you had to stand up and talk about why they need to take you into the capsule so you can survive, right? And I remember my teacher got all us because she was smart enough to say that she understood horticulture and she understood plants and agriculture, and she's good at it. She has a green thumb. She's also mechanically inclined. And, we were kids, we didn't know any better, right? But certain skills when it comes to survival in the bare bones of a society are going to be needed. Number one, yeah, you're going to need internet. You're going to need certain things, but you're also going to need people to understand blockchain. And Javon was talking the other day about there being a 100-year run with blockchain. Can you talk about that, Javon?
Oh yeah, they have this thing called the Barron's list. This is pretty much the list that all it's like one of the basic, like I'll say one of the first lists basically created in the financial industry that basically determine value. And so you have things like sugar, wheat, oil, that's all on that list. So blockchain ended up being on that list, and specifically Bitcoin. They're saying that they believe Bitcoin will be here for at least about 100 years. So anybody that tells me that they believe, and all these billionaires go to this for reference, you mean to tell me that you believe that this is going to be around for the next 100 years? You didn't even say nothing like regular, like 5 years or 10 years. You said 100 years. And Barron is always known for giving long-term outlook. They always say 50 years, 100 years. So when I'm knowing that Bitcoin is supposed to be around for the next 100 years, sign me up. That means let me get in today. That means if I get in, and not financial advice, because you could lose everything and be left with nothing. But if I get in today, in the technology today, you mean to tell me this is going to have a 100-year run, and I can get in today? That's like getting in oil the first day it came out. You got to think about it. The stock market right now been out. The first call option was placed in 1924. The first wire transaction was like 1886. Can you imagine getting into banking in 1886? 1886 when the first wire transfer was done. Can you actually imagine like actually getting ground up in that technology? Can you imagine getting into the stock market in the Dow Jones Industrial 1924 when you was able to place your first call option on the Dow Jones? You could have just played a call option and did a rollover option for like the next 100 years. And you see the stock market today, it's popular as ever. So if I look at the stock market today and I see it's just as popular, and the stock market is literally 100 years old, and I'm like, man, if you would have gotten into the S&P 500 the first day it came out, when it didn't have no market cap, the S&P right now got a market cap of 33 trillion. So can you imagine, like, it's some people that got some money that ain't saying nothing, because you have people who got money in generational. So if you got the same money that was around 100 years ago, you got a lot more money than what you're really telling me. So I'm thinking I can get in position like that today, 50, 60 years from now, when they say, Bitcoin is at, 100 million. I'm like, man, I got in year one of the technology. This year 60. I'm crazy paid at this point. So that's how I feel like the people who got into sugar. Now, mind you, people got into sugar, wheat, and oil day one, those three industries. So I started to begin to think of infrastructure. People are only I don't believe in all that racism and stuff like that. I mean, because when you really, just to be honest with you, when you deal with other people who have a whole lot more money, it's really just economics at that point. Me personally, and I'm not trying to upset anybody.
You're not gonna upset nobody over here.
As long as if you in America, like I'm from Africa, so all Africans weren't slaves. So I'm just saying like that. Not every African was a slave. It was just a specific group. So meaning what I mean by that is it's opportunity for everybody. I mean, if they'll go get somebody from foreign in India to come over here to be a software engineer and pay $20,000 for a visa and pay them $100,000, right now in America, you can be anything you want. You can make a video on Instagram and get money. You could be a blockchain developer. I don't see nobody stopping me from doing technology. I don't care where we are. Ain't nobody stopping me from doing technology.
You
So
know what?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say what I find interesting. I've been doing IT, man. I was in IT. I was trying to get in IT in the .com era, and the numbers were high, right? People were making a lot of money. Now those numbers in IT, they were giving this money in the 90s. I'm talking about 90, 100,000, 100. They were giving that in the 90s, right? And back then it probably was equivalent to 200, right? But today I see those numbers. We talk about it every skill set we try to do at Lifting the Veil is a 6-figure skill set. But what makes this different than any other skill set, the highest jobs I've ever seen has been 2 fields I've seen. Salesforce architect, which is ungodly amounts of money too, right? Specifically when you're dealing with MuleSoft. I don't know why, but they pay real good. And blockchain. And that's when I see 400, 350. I see crazy numbers. Now, am I saying this is what we're not saying, that you're going to come to Lifting the Veil and you guaranteed to go out there and get a job making 350? No. We can't make any guarantees, but what we can guarantee is that you'll be competent. You'll know what you're talking about. You'll know how to hold your own in these interviews, and through trial and error, you'll be able to, eventually land one. Sometimes you might land your first interview. Sometimes it might take you 4 or 5, but you will eventually, if you follow directions, be successful. You'll hit your target, but I can't guarantee it because a lot of things go into that, following directions. And a lot of times, specifically us as African Americans, if you go to my website, it has Booker T. Washington on it, has all these different things on it. So my website is basically centered around reaching out to African Americans. And I'm going to say this. One of the things that we have to overcome is this imposter syndrome that we don't belong in these rooms. You belong. You're part of the infrastructure. You're part of it. Whether you know it or not, you are part. You are vital to, let's look at Asians. We are vital to Asian economy. We are, right? Even in their country, even in Japan, hip-hop culture is influential over there. Our culture is vital to a lot. And when I say culture, I mean any non-biological behavior that blacks exhibit. The thing is, if they're making these decisions, one of us need to be in the room. And last time these decisions were made, they created the wealthiest companies on the face of the planet. That's what they did. And if you go look at the capitalization of the largest companies on the planet, 4 or 5 of them were created by like little Silicon Valley teenagers or little tech gurus. And these people, the people that founded YouTube, each one of these guys, when they sold it to Google, got like $400-500 million. They worked at PayPal and they developed this in their spare time. The same thing that Javon is talking about in his spare time, not in his spare time, but working in these spaces. Just hypothetically, if you're working in a space where you get on with some meme coin or get on some coin and they say, hey, we're going to pay you in the coin, don't tone them down. That coin may have a run. And the reason I know this, if you go to CoinMarketCap, there are thousands of coins on there. And if you click on any coin, it has a run. It may not be, it may not go up to $20,000 a piece, but it'll have a run if it's just going up to like half a penny. From 3,000th of a penny. So by the time you go up, you got I say 3,000, 6,000% return on your money. So these are the types of things that we want to start making. Like I said, Javon was in there when they created Sheeb. When they created it, he jumped in the next day. That's crazy. But he knows people that works in these parts. You want to get these relationships too, because if you may not be at the company, but you may be working at another company, but if you know a guy that's working at XRP because you met him when you worked on another project, you can call that guy. You got these relationships are vital, specifically when you're talking about the Great Reset and they're going to have money that expires and they're going to be able to see everything you spend your money on. Like, how would you like it if the government could know if you bought a OnlyFans, if you take 50 cents and do anything, the government knows about it. You get what I'm saying? That's what they want. Completely cashless. That's what they want to move to, because then they can control you. And so, but there are going to be a lot of people in these countries. These same countries are still scrambling for gold and silver, XRP, all these different tokens. And they're talking about taking them away from us to not have access to them. So, being early is always good. Javon?
Wait, hold on real quick. Shout out to Big Poke Dog. Came through, dropped a $20 super chat on it. Do appreciate that. He says supporting during the stream that ninjas don't watch. Yeah, you know the people, they always saying, hey, you need to do more streams like this, more streams like this. Yeah, and we do them like we do the streams like this, and they don't show up. They don't show up. But shout out to all of them, and shout out to you, Big Poke Dog. Do appreciate you supporting the stream. There are some people who asked a few questions. Well, I was going to get to some questions people asked. I normally prefer people super chat the questions, but it's a few that see people floated out there that I will throw at y'all. But go ahead, Sub. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, it's interesting. These people are talking about taking your freedoms, and I've talked about this with M1 offline. Me and him talk sometime, and there are people that are on the other side of the world threatening. They're going to take your freedoms. It's not, and if you're not prepared, that's why I'm not knocking the brothers in this space. I'm just saying, yeah, I agree. But people tend not to watch the streams about survival, about things like this. They want to watch streams about black women or about dating or about, something ratchet. At the end of the day, this is what matters to me. I think this is a lot more important than, having the skills, the prerequisite skills to be integral part of the 21st century and being able to be involved in this coming wealth generation that's coming, and we don't even have a clue of what's going on. That's important. That's very important. So, not trying to shame anybody. I'm not even reading the comments yet. So I'm just that's just it though.
Right. But shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to RW, came through. RW in the building. He says, great info, fellas. I appreciate the share. One thing I want to get into, because I'm losing, and shout out to RW, met the brother in person, cool dude. One thing I want to get into, it looks like people are asking questions like, what do they do? Somebody they got, they know nothing about this, they're interested. What's the first step that y'all would give them? What's the first step that y'all would?
If they're trying to get the skill set, call me and schedule a consultation. Go to the website www.ltvacademy.com. Schedule a free consultation. We can talk on the phone. As it pertains to XRP and being in Ripple and stuff like that, then you want to, just do research on XRP. I mean, just type it up. It's a million videos. You'll be talking like an expert in about 2 weeks. I mean, one of my favorite channels is what is it? Black Swan Capital. They had an interview with a guy by the name of Clive Thompson. And he broke it down. He broke the game down. And he talked about how there are going to be a lot of future millionaires and billionaires, possibly trillionaires created, and how, they're going to be attacked. And he was talking about a lot of things.
All right.
Javon, he said, what's up, Ant? Ant said, what programming language is blockchain built on? Javon?
Solidity.
Okay, short answer. All right.
And it's designed for beginners.
Okay. And one other one, he's asking, do you got the link to that Ripple video?
No, that was the Bearable Bull. That's because I download. I can't, when I do stuff on my YouTube channel, I can't play it anymore. They done stopped it. So now you have to download stuff. But that was the Bearable Bull. Bearable like bear market. Bearable Bull. And if you go on his channel at the end of his videos, because he talk kind of weird, but when you get to the end of his videos, he play that video just about on every video.
All right. Sub-Zero, you was about to pass it to Javon on something, and I cut it off because I was shouting out the super chat.
Yeah, I was just asking Javon to expound on what I had just said. I was just talking about how this is important, and it needs to be. You need to be having the skill. You need to be focusing on having these skills, and I think it's important. And I guess Javon, I guess you can close out with the importance of this skill set and what it means and how it will protect you. You know, to have a skill set like this, like how Walter White in Breaking Bad skill set protected him from getting killed by Gustavo many an occasion, right? So this skill set puts you in that position, not, So what do you think, Javon?
Yeah, I definitely think that the skill set does put you in a better position because as I grow older, I really see that lack of execution is really, the biggest killer of everything because a lot of us have really, really good excuses and they may be true. But if in the tech space, a lot of us, this is the only space I know that don't care what you look like. They don't care if you're fat, short, tall, they don't care if your skin falling off, on. And they don't even care if you're a robot. That's crazy. They don't even care. They don't even care. So you now have no excuses to catch up. And then you got to think about it. If you're working a regular job, it takes forever to make six figures. I don't care if you're getting paid $30 an hour. You got it. You do 1,000 hours at $30 an hour, probably still don't have six figures. So you jump right into six figure. And this let me know now if America says if you don't make $400,000 a year, that's considered poverty or something. They said something like that. It's like some crazy amount. And I'm like, gosh, 400,000. I mean, you can do a lot with 400,000. So this is what's letting me thinking that if a lot of these tech jobs are starting off at six figures, that let me know the world finna get a lot more expensive. Apple's finna be $10 an apple. I mean, because anytime what I'm noticing is ever since the IT space in the 90s, they have been paying six figures. They've been paying that same 150,000 since the 90s. That's letting me know right now that if they haven't changed that pay, that means they already know that inflation is going to get so high. You're going to need at least you're going to at least need $150,000 a year just to be able to breathe. I mean, if you ain't bringing in, 10 grand a month, life is going to be extremely hard. I mean, that's just being honest. If you ain't bringing in 10 grand a month, life is going to be extremely hard. Just because of the economy going. I mean, in pandemic, they gave out $9 trillion. Somebody got to pay that back. If you understand how financing work and interest rates and mortgages payments and fractional reserve system, you understand how that works. So blockchain is my only economic freedom. There's nothing else that I can do that would generate. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how the drug business work, but I don't even think I can even sell drugs that fast to as much money as tech paying. I mean, I have to I have to be your friend. I have to make sure you ain't telling on me, or I can just go I can just learn how to do blockchain, get work for a fintech or a government tech company, and bring home base 300,000, and then plus I'm working remote. I mean that you can't even beat that. I mean you're not gonna beat that. So I just really think that I mean, you gotta be a little more smarter now. I mean, life require you to be a little more smarter now. Back then, you could, do a few things and make a quick dollar. You can't even scam the same how easy people say it was back in the day. I mean, they watching you now. They're using AI to catch crime. You ain't gonna beat that. You're not gonna beat AI watching for crime. I mean, you're not going. First, you had to watch for the FBI agents in the Department of Justice. Now you got technology looking for criminals. You might as well give up the crime. And
they're going to close off a lot of things for people. Freedoms that we enjoy and we grew up enjoying, they're going to be gone. And you're going to be locked in to being poor. That's really what people don't understand. It's the classes are going to get locked. If you prepare now, you can when the switch happens and they go to people go home on a Friday, their bank accounts are closed, and all of a sudden they open up on Tuesday after they done put digital dollars out and they're saying it's 10 to 1 or 20 to 1. A lot of people gonna lose a lot of money. A lot of people gonna be millionaires and they're gonna be broke overnight. And then they're gonna be people that prepared, that knew what was coming, that tracked this stuff down, that knew because they work in this industry, they work for these companies, they know the people by name, they got their phone numbers. That's who I want to be. I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy that knows the industry, knows it backwards and forwards, and knows what's coming, right? And can read blockchain, knows, and we're going to teach all that, how to even develop your own coin. You know, we're going to teach all that because you got to understand these things, how these exchanges work, right? These platforms are set up so that we'll be able to understand. We're going to set all that up. We're going to teach you how to do all that so you'll know what you're doing. Because what we don't want is for another great, transition to happen and all this wealth is being generated, right? And everybody in Black people are left out.
Yeah. No, definitely. Man, I saw an interesting one in the chat room. That ain't it. I don't know why the chat moving slow. I don't know why I can't keep up with it. That ain't even the one I was trying to find. But do y'all want to take questions from the audience? Because we didn't even talk about how long we going. I mean, how long we going right now? How much time y'all got?
I know Javon only had an hour because I know he got to prepare for class. I mean, what's today? Now he don't got class today, but still, it's Javon. He only had an hour, so I mean, we'll take one or two. I mean, but
okay, all right. We'll make it quick. If y'all want to just come up and shotgun a question out there real fast, then yeah, y'all can get some direct questions answered. But you see Sub-Zero's number right there in the chat room. The website is right there in the chat room. He's easily accessible. You can easily contact him if you want to. If you're trying to learn this, you got the information right there. You got the contact information right there. But shout out to the ATM guy, says great show, but or something Sub-Zero said earlier about enslaving humanity reminds me of Dave Icky's everything you need to know but were never told summary, warning of a coming global Orwellian state. And the ATM guy sent a $2 super chat. Do appreciate you putting
these last $2. I'm not gonna lose.
Do appreciate you putting $2 on it. No, y'all got to run, but we'll see if anybody wants to get a direct question in. But hopefully y'all are hopefully you've taken the number, copy and pasted that, clicked on the links and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and let me say this. Shout out to Dollar Will. Me and him have gone back and forth some years, not really seriously back and forth. He used to come on my channel sometime. I saw his question or statement. He said, if you hold dollars, you'll go broke. I think this is going to be like unlike anything we've ever seen. I don't think this is going to be the typical inflation. And I'm sure he knows that. But this is not going to be just, the typical 4% inflation and you're only getting 0.5% at the bank. You hold your money in the bank, you lose. No, this is way worse. This is like, I hate to be crazy, but I mean, this is, I'm dating myself, but this is Mad Max under the Thunderdome, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is apocalypse, like the end, like you out here fighting over water, or, people killing each other. I mean, I could see something like that when the economy collapses. And there was a movie I watched some years ago called, what was the name of it? Not years ago, it was like last year. It was American Refugee with Derek Luke from Antoine Fisher. Man, if you watch that movie, it shows how everything just went to shit when the economy collapsed. We've never seen this before. It's gonna be bad. And so I think that's something that, and I don't know, I'm not smart enough to know everything. There are a lot of people that are a lot smarter than me that understand this stuff, but I know everybody's saying the same thing. Be prepared. Get you some gold. Get you some silver. Get in other things, among other things. Obviously, I'm not going to get into the survival, prepper stuff, but, among other things. But I hear everybody saying the same thing in this space. Gold, silver, XRP, ISO 22 tokens. Those are the four baseline things that you probably don't need.
What do you say to the people, and this is probably some basic advice, but I think people probably need to hear it, where, it was a time, hell, right, even in the manosphere where a lot of people were saying, hey, put money on this, buy this. I mean, hell, I made money. You helped me make some money on AMC, so, and a lot of people was jumping on various crypto things, and then it dropped down and a lot of people lost money. So there's a percentage of people who are discouraged or they just look at it as just ride the wave and jump off type of thing. they're probably thinking they already missed those waves. So what do you say to that person?
Oh man, I'm gonna let Jerome. I'm gonna let Javon take that one. Javon.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, if you felt like you missed the wave, you didn't really miss anything if the technology is only 13 years old. I mean, because again, the technology, the skill set of building the technology is what you're learning. You're not necessarily looking for a project to make money. You are the money when you have the skill set to build the blockchain, because you can work with a startup, Microsoft sponsoring, and you are the developer of that startup, and you can get your coins that way. A lot of people, you don't like in today's time, you don't think about how to buy money. You don't think about, all right, let me figure out, let me buy some money. You more so think about how you earn money. What can I do to earn some money? Like, can I go get a job, so on and so forth. So you got to think of get creative. What way? The technology is what you want to look for. Companies make their own coins. So you would think of, well, if I miss that wave, I got this skill set I can build. What startup can I go work for that is going to launch a coin so I can get in from the ground up? So you want the skill set make you irreplaceable. The skill, you having the skill set, the way you are the wave, you are the tsunami in human form. The project that you make money on, not just a project that you could have made money on, but I want you to understand, when you have the skill set, you can work for 2, 3, 4 companies. You can job hop and still keep the coins that they give you. You can invest in new projects. You don't have to necessarily, you know, you don't necessarily have to buy what wave has already passed. Most important thing is you need to learn the skill set to build the wave, to continue to build the wave, because again, all these startups need blockchain developers. Again, a lot of these crypto projects are startups that launch their own coin. You want to get like me, if I want to get in ground up and catch these coins at zero price, I'm gonna find which ones I can go work for. That way you're gonna give me the coins and I'm gonna try to buy it at the same time. You give me 20,000, 20, I mean, you give me, you know, uh if I'm working for Bitcoin under $1, you give me 20,000 Bitcoin just for working the job there, and it's under $1. Every time I get paid, I'm buying more Bitcoin.
Now I like that. I like how you put that. It ain't about riding the wave. If you get in on that, you part of what's creating the wave. You sparking it. You're part of the part of the early process of that wave before it even starts. Like, no, that's good.
I want to say this too. The government is not interested in crypto because you can make money. Hell, they print the damn money. They're interested in the technology.
Yeah.
I want you to. So you got people, you got banks, you got companies like BlackRock, you got all these billionaires. They're not necessarily excited about crypto because you got to remember, they're a billionaire. They already got money, so they're not necessarily thinking about, oh, how can I make some more money, in that type of concept of buying something in the sky. They're making it $3,000 a second. They ain't thinking about that. They're more so thinking, how can I get a part of the infrastructure? You only get wealthy by getting in the infrastructure. So I to understand, it's not about the coin that you can find to make money. Treat that like a hobby. You want to get into the infrastructure, which is learning the skill set, learning how to build the technology, because infrastructure is what make you the wealthiest. I want you to change your mind from thinking of hustles and side hobbies into thinking of, how can I get into blockchain from an infrastructural standpoint? How can I get into an up and coming project from an infrastructure point? That's how Warren Buffett thinks. That's how all these billionaires and banks think. You got to think about it. If you got into the infrastructure of banking, if you invested in Swift when Swift first established that monetary system, think how much money you would have been paid. If you would have got involved in Visa or MasterCard the first day they came out, if you would have got involved in the infrastructure of credit card payment systems, if you just would have invested in that. I had a friend in high school, literally dad worth about $60 million, and he literally got in ground level of the internet company Cisco, CISCO. He literally got in day one. That they took early money from investors. He was just an early investor. He put in 20 grand, turned 20 grand into $60 million just because he got in ground up. He said, I didn't do nothing hard to get rich. All I did was I just happened to be in the room. They needed $100,000. I had 20,000. It was like 4 of the people that put in the 20,000 turned 20 grand into 60 million just because he got into the infrastructure. He don't know shit. He don't know nothing about how internet work. He just had 20 grand and just got in at the right time. But he got into the infrastructure.
Right. Right. All right. Let's because I know you gotta go. So let's try to run through these questions real fast. I keep the questions short and to the point. We got Supra. I think I said your name right. It's kind of small. I can't see it, but it looks like it's Supra 79. Go ahead. You got the floor. You got the mic.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks, Bernard.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we good. You good. Go ahead. You got it.
All right, quick question.
Hold on, real quick, and shout out to Nobody. Nobody sent $10 Cash App, and Stephen Carter sent $5 Cash App. All right, go ahead, Supra, you got it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what do you guys think about after getting the skills about pivoting to solution-based problems in Africa? Because that seems to be a hot topic lately, from what I research. Can you guys just talk about that? Thanks.
Either one of y'all.
Yeah, I let Javon take that one. So that's his arena anyway. He's from Africa.
Oh, okay.
Too, so.
Oh, okay. Good. I thought that question was kind of from left field, but hey, no, if you got something on it, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that since blockchain is global, it would more so be the governments in Africa that those solutions would be more that will actually be where the solution can get implemented. You would have to basically find that the places in Africa you want to go to, and then go to the Chamber of Commerce out there. Like, let's say if you're from Congo, you would go to the specifically if you're like in Kinshasa or somewhere like that, you would just go down to like the government office. So wherever the government office is in Africa, you will call out to them, ask them to get a list of their problems, and let them know that you're a tech startup and you have solutions that you want to implement. Can I schedule a meeting to come in the office? And then they're 9 times out of 10 they're gonna say yeah, because nobody calls and asks to do that. And you get into the office, and you can take those skill sets and then have like those governments pay you. And because again, you want to think infrastructure, so you could go in Africa and service towns and people and local businesses and the poor farmers out there. That's a great idea. But if you think of a infrastructural route, when you talk to the government in Africa, they'll give you the problems and you'll create an infrastructural solution that enterprises can use.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Hopefully he sufficiently answered your question. We're gonna move it over to Laro. Welcome back. What's going on your mind?
What's up, brother? Hey, I have a question about the course you guys are offering. Is it like on more of the rudimentary side of the game? It's like how to on-ramp crypto, or would it be more advanced as far as like how do you become a node or such things, as far as like if you are in the IT, right? If you are a tech guy, right? How do you go into these different companies and actually start building on top of their blockchain? I was just asking the question about the course.
From the course perspective, basically, you will be learning how to build an actual blockchain. Basically, like in the lab. So when you subscribe to the course, there's a few labs that we would do that will help you prepare to go on job interviews. So you're more so will be building like. Be learning the skill set to build what a job wants you to do. So a lot of times, just when you're building a blockchain, you're setting up everything from nodes all the way from. Okay, so if you're doing something like if you're working for like a Department of Education, I'll say it that way, and you're building a ledger for all the superintendents to report all the funding. You're pretty much built that from how do I say that? You have built the entire application from beginning to end, and it may not necessarily have like a cryptocurrency that goes on that application, but you're more so building the technology for that particular industry to enter in data, because all blockchain is just basically data stored inside of a block that's just visible to the general public. So basically, when schools get donations and stuff like that, everyone will be able to see exactly what came in and where the money actually went publicly, versus having to rely on their accountant to show you QuickBooks or anything like that. Because anybody can kind of manipulate those numbers, but everything on the blockchain ledger is like indeed true. So in the education system, they would benefit with that technology just to eliminate people embezzling money or stealing money that donators are giving.
Hey, but one of the main things about blockchain right now is a lot of different companies they're offering. It's like, I don't want to say like grants or scholarships or whatnot. It's just like they're giving away money to tech guys right now. Say, come and build on our blockchain to build and make it better. And it's all type of like monies or whatnot you can go and get, because they're giving money away right now, right? I mean, you guys know they're giving it away like fucking candy right now, bro. They literally are. Like, come and build on our blockchain. So when you say build your own blockchain, it's kind of like you just running in the mud if you're trying to build your own blockchain. If you what you want to do is actually make dollars and actually build on blockchains that have kind of been in it since like 2016, moving forward or whatnot, because they're begging for developers. And I know you guys see that, right?
Yeah, there's a huge demand for the entire industry. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay. That was it.
Okay, cool. JC, go ahead. You have the floor. You have the mic. What's on your mind?
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
All right, cool. I've got to know ISO 222 for a minute now, been years. And because I knew FedNL was going to come in July. That's like a forecast. But the question is, when do you believe like the real pain is going to start?
Good question.
Oh, I really don't. I in this industry, I just from my past experience, I don't like to make predictions because I give you a number, a date, and it won't happen.
That's fair. That's fair.
And so I've just learned historically to just wait, because I had like 6 or 7 Bitcoins one time when it was $300, and I'm really angry right now. You're about when it went to 70,000, I was like, man, what was I doing? That would have been at least $500,000, but so I don't know. I mean, I believe Bitcoin will hit 6 figures within a couple of years. I don't know when it can be this year. I don't know. I mean, I think there's probably going to be some world event, and it's going to probably usher in an emergency, and then they're gonna, I do know just from listening to these people, they're planning purposefully to collapse the system, and when they do, I think the average person is gonna be okay in the long run, but there'll be a season. Just I'm guessing. This is guesswork. This is conjecture because we haven't lived into that time, but just I think the average person is gonna be scratching their heads like, okay, how am I gonna make it? Then they're gonna come up with some government way to fix it, and then people will still try to go back to normal, but a lot of wealth will, from what I'm hearing, like the guy Clive Thompson, who's in the interview, he was just talking about how debt will be wiped out, and so everybody's going to be starting over. So, but there'll be a lot of things like retirement, things that got to be covered. So it's going to be a big mess. It's going to take time to get back up to speed with the new system. And from what I'm hearing, I've heard a few people say that, and this is just conjecture. I don't know. I'm not an authority. This is not financial advice. I've heard people say that you won't be able to convert. Like, say if you got $2 million, you won't be able to bring that $2 million over, and it equals 2 million in the CBDC digital dollar. It won't be that. It'll be, they'll bring in like I don't know. It's going to be a percentage, and they're going to limit it because if they let it all come over, everybody's going to want to bring their debt over their money. So there's no we're going to have to stop that. So there's going to be limits. They're talking about monthly limits. I hear people talking about monthly limits. I hear people talking about how much you can convert over per month. So they're going to really slow it down because they're going to bleed off the old currency. So, and this has happened 4,000 or 5,000 times before. When you look at old like currencies historically, it's happened before. We just have never seen it to this magnitude with the dollar being a world reserve currency. So,
all right. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the questions. All right, and so we're about to wrap this up. We went roughly almost 30 minutes past the time. Thank you for Javon for hanging in there answering the questions. I know you said you had to run, but all right. So we about to wrap this thing on up, and y'all see the links. RM, drop those links in there one more time, fresh for those who are interested. For those who are interested,
give me a call, text me, call me, man. I'll talk
those links. Yep, definitely drop those links. And yeah, he's accessible. You got questions you wasn't able to come up to ask him, or your question may be too long to put it out there in the chat room. He's accessible. That number is right there in the chat room. Y'all see it 678 627 2796. Y'all see it right there in the chat room. Feel free to call him. He will answer. He will talk to you. So but with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get out of here. I'd like to thank all of you for listening, everybody who supported the stream in any way, shape, or form. Appreciate each and every one of you. We out of here. Peace. We gone.